Welcome back to our Hyphen with my girl Sherelle and Sade. Today we are coming with questions and answers. I text some individuals and asked them to send us some questions that they would ask. No specific topic. I have not seen them, so I want to say to the people that once they sent me their questions, I didn't respond back to them.
Left them on read. Oh, well, you ain't look at it yet, so.
Yeah, like no, well, like maybe if they ask me a question, because somebody did ask me a question as far as topic, but then I just stopped looking at my phone. So if they had a question for me in reference to something, I didn't answer it. But it's gonna be quite interesting, and I'm gonna say this: if I can't answer it, we're gonna have another episode on. I'm gonna have to write that question down.
Do some research.
Yes. So, you have anything you want to say before we get started?
It's another early morning or early day. It's what 6:52, and we up recording. And I just want to emphasize that because, like we always say, we make time for what's important. So it's no such thing as not having enough time. We just don't tend to make time for the things, all the things that we should be or need to make time for. So let's go.
And I will say, I'm going to commend us for being able to compromise with our schedules. So, but I like that.
Because yesterday I realized I had dinner scheduled with my cousin. She came from New York.
Okay.
And so that wouldn't have worked out anyway. Because when I was talking about yesterday, I was like, I'm just tired.
All right. Well, let's get started. I'm not going to call names of the people that sent, but I'm going to try to say a question from each person.
Do you need me to set a timer?
Please. Because, I got to go in.
How much time you need to get there?
10 minutes.
So I'm going to do, how long does it take us to get out? So, 20 minutes before.
See, y'all? You make time for what's important. And we set these schedules.
All right, I got you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. If you could live your life over again knowing what you know now, would you do anything differently? Any regrets that you would take back? I'm going to read it again. If you could live your life over again, knowing what you know now, would you do anything differently? Any regrets that you would take back?
So for this question, I'm going to rid myself of the thought that everything happens for a reason. Because I know a lot of times when people ask me that question, I'll say, I don't have any regrets because I feel like everything led me to where I am now. Everything was necessary. At the top of my list, I definitely would have went to my college of choice. My first choice was Howard University. And it's so amazing just how things work out because that ended up being the college that my sister went to. So in a way, I feel like I live vicariously through her. Like, I'm glad that she got that experience, and it helps for me not feel like, dang, as much. But I definitely would have went to Howard and definitely made better financial decisions. And I probably wouldn't have had a boyfriend in college if I would have went to Howard. Swinging from the chandelier at the cute dog parties. That's probably what God said. Nope. But again, it makes sense. Everything happens for a reason, not understand the reason.
Right.
I was sitting at a PWI getting my studies done because I probably would still be undergrad trying to graduate. Turn up. You hear me?
You be a professional student.
Yes. I mean, we had, like, the fun that I had, it was like, I feel like it was more controlled fun in the sense of, like, I wasn't going too far off the radar. But, man, if I would have got up in D.C. in 2010, probably had me a go-go song made by me. Girl, by the time I left.
You would have came up with a new genre for real.
They would have had so many songs. Who is that girl?
All right. Well, I'm going to piggyback off you and say, if we're going to say, well, now I'm going to say, I don't live with regrets. Everything was a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
But living in that moment, I would not have gotten married as early as I did.
Mm-hmm. You got married at what age? You want to say?
I don't know. How old was I? 22.
22?
I got married, but the only reason I got married is because of what society's footprint. You're pregnant, you're supposed to be married.
Do the right thing like Spike Lee.
And, yeah.
And it's crazy because I remember wanting to be married that earlier. But in hindsight, I can say if I would have got married when I thought I was ready, divorce.
And I see why the divorce rates are high.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I get it. I'm part of those statistics.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Because there's so many components that goes into the success of anything, but the success of merging your life with somebody else.
And
like
you don't
even
even know
in
your own life.
dating, I see, like, I can understand why. Like sometimes we have learned the importance of having those uncomfortable conversations. So I think it's something that we lead with. But for people that may not have been as committed to that journey or that part of themselves or their lives, like imagine how many things, emotions, thoughts, feelings people bury, and then over time it explodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then nothing makes sense. We try to make everything make sense at once.
You're trying to make it work. You ain't working with yourself. You can't even make yourself work because you're still learning you. You don't even know your purpose. So I see why. And I mean, I commend the ones that's been together since high school. I commend because I am pretty sure it has not been peaches and cream.
They put an age limit on cigarettes and alcohol. They didn't put it on marriage. You can't get married until you pass an emotional intelligence test.
Like a citizen's
an assessment. Are you mentally ready to be married? Are you ready for Jehovah's return? Because if you're not, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
All right. Let me go to someone else. Mm-hmm. Once trust is broken, do you think it can be rebuilt?
I had an immediate answer.
What was your immediate answer?
Hell no. No.
But we say never say never.
We say a whole bunch of stuff. That maybe that's the area that I have not yet conquered in my journey to self, my journey to understanding. No. Because for me.
How you say it?
For me, like you say, for me. For me.
Watch your mouth.
Yeah, let me be. It's like you're always second guessing. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
Does that make me immature? Is that something? Nah.
Well, for me, you know what?
As for me in my house.
As for me in my house, we believe, right, quote unquote, that people change.
You change with somebody else. Don't lie to the next person. I'm going to be that conduit of change for you because you done lied to me. Now you see the results of that. You ain't going to lie no more. See you later.
What if? Let me ask you this. Don't you say no? What if their actions started lining up with what they were saying? All right, so you tell me in a relationship.
I'm about to break this thing down like a 10 at the end of the cookout. Because my mind already going so many places, scenarios.
But what makes that different from you, like our relationship?
But I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but in terms of like, you right. But you saying when their actions started lining in my troubled mind, I say, like, look at how many situations where, like, people have taught us how easy it is to cheat. We're like, dang, that's what you do? when you're to the other person, your actions line up. You know what I mean? Because they're intentional about making sure that their actions line up so that they don't get caught. So like for me, I feel like at this point I've seen so much, I've seen too much, that my mind is always forward thinking in terms of like trying to make sure I don't get caught slipping.
All right. Let me ask you another question. And you know this done happen at our family cookouts. People just sitting around having a general conversation and talk about it. You know for yourself, y'all remember when such and such used to run through the woods and do this, or y'all remember when such and such used to dip off and do this, or run with this one? If that was your man that his family was referencing to while you were sitting there, but that's before you. But that's gonna be on your mind, right?
Yep.
Yup.
Yeah.
You still gotta trust.
Then that's why people need to leave the past in the past. Don't bring up stuff that can make people uncomfortable in that way.
But you know for yourself, our family make everything funny.
Yeah.
And you know they could be
sometimes stuff do not be a joke.
For real, for the person that the joke that
Man,
is
they don't know how to stop. Especially the men, they bullies in a sense. You think about it. They bullies.
In a way. Because you know you just be around generally talking and the next thing you know, man, they gonna drag it.
Yep. And bring somebody else, an innocent bystander, into it. Well, dang, I won't even there, but all right.
Right. So think about that.
I think it's...
You're always building trust.
That's the part of me I need to work on. That's the part of me, because I can think of situations where I've offended people and it wasn't my intention. Wasn't my intention.
Okay, and that goes back to then we all know our intention. However, I'm talking about trust as far no.
And you see, when you talk about trust, my mind automatically go to cheating. Mm-hmm. So that's where I was at. Because to me, that is the biggest like spit in somebody's face.
I agree. Because you got me walking around cheesing, my man,
hyping you up,
sending me flowers, everything. And another woman got one up on me. Like you say. That right there is why I'm single. I can't take that. Ooh. You know you got that thing in your stomach? That pit in your stomach? I got it there.
You got residual trauma. Good God. You gotta work through that, sis. Like, for real, I feel like we in general, because I get that feeling sometimes still too. But that goes back to, I think it's important to find somebody that understands that. That's what my cousin Sharon was telling me yesterday when we met. Like, oftentimes we try to present in a way, like going into a relationship where like we are the best suited partner for that person, or we got it together. And that's what makes it hard, like when stuff hits the fan, to like feel like you can break, feel like you can be vulnerable because you presented yourself in this unrealistic package. So like, why not go into, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. And y'all don't judge me.
Well,
I lost my chapstick Sunday.
The candy cane again. Oh, it's candy corn last time. They ain't got candy cane. You ready for the holidays?
And I failed this. And I need my lips.
Goodness.
I can't say I'm the lip gloss queen. No, but I need my lip gloss. When them lips don't slide together, it's a problem.
I think you got to be intentional about work. I'm going to get you this book. And it's okay to push through those uncomfortable. Like, why do we stop when it get uncomfortable? What's the worst that can happen by us, like, committing to the potential that we could feel those feelings?
But I haven't stopped. It's...
You just said that's why you single.
But I'm saying that, I'm still looking. You get what I'm saying? Like, I have the desire to date. I want to date. But who am I going to date? I'm dating myself now. But who am I going to date? I don't have no potentials.
But is that the energy that you're giving off? Because we believe in energy in every other situation. You do get it off.
For real?
Yes.
Really?
We've had this conversation today.
How? When I'm out and about, I'm friendly, I speak.
It's like you're talking about like on the surface level. Your energy, like you give off like standoffish energy. Not in a mean way, not in a way that's condescending in any way. But you do get it off. Like, I don't think you fully, I don't think you're approachable. That's not a bad thing, because I see you. It's not a bad thing, but you just exude like this. What is the word I'm looking for? it's definitely a confidence. I don't know the word, and now I feel like I want to find the word because I don't want to leave you feeling like it's a bad thing.
No, I don't feel like it's a bad thing, but we got to talk after this.
Okay.
We need to talk about like how like I can soften up. I need to soften up.
I don't know if you call it soften up.
We're gonna get back to that. We'll get back to it.
All right.
So for me,
What was the question?
The question was, once trust is broken, do you think it can be rebuilt? I'm going to say yes, as long as your actions is aligning with your words.
And I'm saying can't build based on what I feel like my level of comfortability is. You know what I mean? Anything is possible. But it would put me in a space where I'm out of control. I don't feel like I have control, and that would make me very uncomfortable. So that's why I'm saying no.
Okay.
Ooh.
Because it's building every day. All right, next question. How would you describe wholeness? And how do you know when you are walking in your wholeness?
These questions are good.
They are very good.
But it's funny, like, knowing our people, I bet you I can tell who those questions. I'm going to say it off camera. Like, I feel like I know who that came from.
That's a whole episode.
You want me to go first or you going first? You get nervous. I'm nervous. Wholeness. How do you describe wholeness? I think wholeness is something that is unique and specific to each person. For example,
I'm listening to you.
Oh, cool. For example, I don't know that when people ask me or say like talk about self-love and wholeness and that kind of thing, for me, when I had the ability to be by myself and be content in that made me feel like I was whole. Because there was a point where I was very codependent and I didn't know who I was outside of my relationship or like who I was attached to. So in my situation, wholeness, or a big part of what I consider to be wholeness, like that was in my ability to be single and happy. Wholeness to me also means a certain level of understanding when it comes to the way that life works and just how fragile life is and how serious life is. Serious in terms of, a lot of times in religious practices we talk about saving our souls because we want to go to heaven in the afterlife. Like, we put so much emphasis on what happens after this life, when honestly, if we remove like our connection to something that's bigger than us and say like we really don't know what happens after life, all we have is what we've been told, what we've read, and that has created a belief in us. But I believe now that we create heaven and hell every single day. And so for me, a part of wholeness and saving my soul has been like saving my soul in this life, the day-to-day work to make sure like I'm clean spirited, like I'm a good person, I'm an honest person, I have integrity. And to me, those things are what makes me feel whole. Like when I know I'm really operating from like a good place, a pure place, a loving place, a peaceful place. And so I think it's just something that one thing that I say is everything that we do from day to day is like leading us home. And I don't mean home in terms of like, again, the afterlife, but home meaning when we really take the time to do that work on self, like we are journeying back to who we were initially created to be anyway. So I think to me that's what wholeness is. Like just that feeling of, it's like a knowing, a certainty that you have within that you are honoring who you were truly created to be.
You get that nervous feel.
What you nervous?
I don't know, because
Don't think about it too much.
How would you describe wholeness? And how do you know when you are walking in your wholeness?
I want to say too, I don't feel like we are ever complete, because completion would mean we don't have any more room to grow and evolve.
Right.
So I feel like we made kind of like a game, like we achieve certain things on different levels, certain lessons, but I don't think we're ever what I would
100%.
Yeah,
right, because that's being perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Talking about every aspect of my life, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, all of them. I learned those by identifying who I was or who I am, and who I'm becoming. So in those aspects, like, I just feel like my mind is everywhere, because I want to pinpoint each specific aspect. That's long. No, but
that's a good podcast episode. Then maybe that's when we can do a separate episode on it, so we can expand.
Okay.
If you feel like that would be helpful.
Finding me, being happy, and when I say happy, like genuinely happy with me, and knowing my intentions. I find myself, like, when I'm around people and they are talking, they're talking or whatever, but I only speak from experience, from me, and I don't want people to feel like all I talk about is me. But at this point in my life, I don't care to know about anybody else's business. You get what I'm saying?
And I think it's only fair, like we talk about how that makes you up. What did you say? Make other people uncomfortable or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Because
ourselves are the only people we can really say with 100% certainty that we know the ins and. I mean, some of us, we don't know all the ins and outs of ourselves, but we can only speak for, like you saying, us, for real.
Right. And that's how I am now. Like, I put myself, when I hear people, whatever people do, you do. But when I hear people talking, and I'm just like, I put myself.
Yep, and that person is talking about shoes. Yep.
And you think about it, every last one of us, it's been in the same situation.
We one decision away.
Hey.
Yep.
And so I'm going to say identifying who I am and who I'm becoming. And what's the next part? And how do you know when you are walking in your wholeness? Well, I'm walking in my wholeness by being at peace. Being one of God's living testimony. Letting people know, you don't have to be perfect. You're not perfect. So God is forgiving. He can bring you through anything. So being a living testimony and knowing my intentions. And being that I'm going to say role model for people, for the single parents, for the people that's been divorced. It's life.
And it's not a bad thing. Right. You know what I mean? Like how we label certain things. Like, okay, we label being broke as being bad. You just at the lowest point of your financial journey. That means it's only room for growth.
Right.
We label divorce as something must have been wrong with her or what's wrong with him. You just had a situation. The only reason it's a divorce is because it's a legal term. You just outgrew somebody.
We were recording. I was swiping that. Right. And that's when people ask me what we outgrew each other.
We label so much and deem it as good or bad.
Right. And it's life. That's why they have lawyers. That's why they have doctors. You know what I'm saying?
And that's how the world is like really imbalanced. That's how we create balance in the world. Like if we were all at the same level, the world would not be balanced in terms of like having differences and we learn from one another. We all at the same level. Like, what's the purpose of life? I think that's so beautiful in life when we can learn and grow and evolve from each other. But we've all contributed to it in one way or another. Like feeling like we have a place to give our viewpoint on something that it ain't meant for us to understand. It's not our journey.
That's how I see.
It's not our journey. We all gotta hold ourselves accountable to that or for that. and stop trying to change people. I'm guilty of that. Definitely.
We all are.
Because I feel like I know what's best for their life.
We all, like you said, we've all contributed to it. But back to the broke part, like you always say, someone is broke to somebody.
Yep.
So
regardless of how much money you think you got.
Right.
And if we all need a point of reference, I don't know. I was about to say, nobody watching us got billions of dollars yet. So we all broke to Jay-Z. We all laughable to him.
Right.
But you know what I mean? So we have to like be mindful of the things that we point at other people and laugh at, because think about it this way: we laughing at God and we making a mockery out of him, because we say that everything happens for a reason and it's all a part of his plan. So who is little on me to say like you should be doing better in your plan that God got for your life? You know what I mean?
Right. I can encourage you.
Right.
I'm doing my part in helping you provide resources and all of that. And if you don't want to take that's up to you. That's still your job. You know, I helped you in that way.
Something that I feel like I did it like to a lot of people going to college. It's like, oh my God, that's so great. To somebody that made millions not going to college, I don't have millions yet. They might be like, girl, that was the dumbest thing you ever did.
You spent all that money.
Right. And still ain't a millionaire yet. And look at me. So duality.
I know that I'm walking in my purpose because I am a role model. I'm gonna say I am a role model for, like I said, those people. And look at how when we do our podcast, we get feedback from people. It's like, thank you, you know. So even from one of my friends that I haven't seen in a couple of years, hit me up. So telling me, thank you. You've helped me see things in a whole different light. So.
Yep. So. Yeah.
So finding my purpose. And walking in it. Finding my purpose. I'm finding my purpose every day, learning it. Coming better at it every day. So,
and I think too, there's purpose in not knowing what your purpose is, at any given moment, because that emptiness that you feel when you don't know what your purpose is, it then makes when you find your purpose clear as day. Because like that assurance that you have is like, oh yeah,
and that's having faith. If we knew our path, then we wouldn't need God, right?
And not for nothing, now in hindsight, I've always known my purpose, or it's always been clear. I just didn't feel like it wasn't presented in a way, like with the bells and whistles, that I thought purpose would be.
That goes back to a man. That goes back, you know what I mean? You gotta be this. And
not to make everything about that, but that's one, I'm glad you said that. That's one thing I told the guy I'm talking to yesterday. Like, I'm realizing, we talked about on the podcast, like, I was so, how can I explain this in a way that makes sense? I'm realizing relationships and stuff don't always have to have that heightened feeling. Like that, like just.
That bubbly.
That adrenaline rush. Because you think about adrenaline rush is really that fight or flight. That might have been my nervous system saying, girl, flight. Take flight. But that's what I was used to in any situation with a man, whether it be like my relationship with my dad and the challenges that came with that. Like I was always, that's still something I'm working through, like this heightened sense of like being on the defense or being prepared. So all of it is a learning lesson. Everything that we experience in one way or another. I'm so hungry. Get my stomach.
You hungry?
Yeah.
What was the question? Because I skipped over.
We go all around the train track.
All right. Okay. What truly led you to take that healing journey in full force and to stay more consistent? What truly led you to take that healing journey in full force and to stay more consistent?
I'll let you answer first. I know our answer is going to be like the same situation, but I don't know how to.
What truly led you to take that healing journey in full force and to stay more consistent? All right. And this is not to offend anyone.
This is our story, our reality.
Seeing people go down, loved ones go down after a divorce, made me pick myself up. And I said, no, that cannot be me. So seeing others and wanting to be that living testimony to say it is life after death, and I'm not talking about a physical death. You know what I'm saying? So wanting to be walking in my purpose, wanting to be walking in my purpose to show people that this is life. It's gonna happen. It's okay. Pick yourself up, and we're gonna go forward. It happens to the best of us.
Yep. I was. Oh wait.
Then I'm gonna say what makes me stay more consistent. I've learned to push myself and to become disciplined, and I'm loving the results, not just the physical results, but I'm loving who I am, finding me. So learning me has not been comfortable, but it's been worth it. So I'm gonna say that's what makes me stay consistent.
My healing journey really was, I guess, sped up, or like I really started taking it serious out of it. Like it was a place of survival, like survival mode almost. Realizing that I couldn't continue on like feeling the way that I was feeling, thinking the way that I was thinking. Kind of like what you were saying, because I saw the results of that around me, but also because of the way that it was manifesting in my life. Like being consumed by negative thinking, and like I was saying earlier, feeling like I had to be in a relationship to feel good about myself. Like it almost started to disgust me. And then like I said, I saw how it was manifesting in my life. I saw the things that I was accepting for myself. I saw how my decision making was affecting my finances. I saw how my decision making was affecting my other relationships. And so it really put me in a place where I had to make the decision to be uncomfortable in a different way to get a better outcome. And so now what keeps me consistent is fear of ever feeling like I felt back then, and to understand or to see how consistency in terms of working on self, like the results that come from it, even though I have in no way, shape, or form scratched the surface in terms of what I know I'm meant to accomplish in this life. Like just being able to see small progress day to day, even if it's I'm riding down the road and I'm listening to a song, but now I understand something differently in that song. It makes me feel like, all right, I've lived a little bit, and I have the ability to self-reflect and to like really understand things in a different way. Like those are the things, like sometimes I feel we go through the day and it's just not like this grand change. We feel like we haven't grown or we haven't accomplished anything that day in terms of our growth. But I look at the small stuff
every day.
Like the fact that we up this early on our day off. We both on call today, but like our day off, to me, that's like, I see that as being a change in terms of overall just the commitment to the things that we deem to be important.
Right.
So just small things like that.
Celebrating our win.
And looking at other successful people, success based on what they tell us, like, right. But everybody's story has this point where they realize they had to do something different.
And another thing, when I was growing up, I always used to hear, even now I hear people say, such and such, you always hear the negative things. And I want to be one of those ones that when people talk about me, girl, she came through that thing.
Or they said, they've been the same person all these years. Please, that would be the biggest slap in my face. Please don't say that about me. That is not a compliment. I mean, in terms of I always want people to think I'm loving and caring and fun and whatever. But as far as, no.
I want to say I live.
I remember when. Please say that about me.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
And it's not even about, I don't want people to say, oh, going out and clubbing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about making moves, you know, living life, traveling, seeing the world instead of staying in one little spot.
I will say, though, when you talk about going out and clubbing, for me, that is something that now I realize my why behind it. When I was doing it all the time, I couldn't sit at home by myself. I wanted to be out and be seen. But now that I've grown and evolved past that point, I can now look back and say it was more than just wanting to go out and have a good time. Because, you know, I love music.
Right.
But I don't want to go out every weekend now.
Right.
And so now when I see, like, some of the people that maybe around the same time we was doing the same thing, I can't, like, well, I want to say that because then that's passing judgment on people's lives. But I do look at it like, okay, what have we done differently since then? That is something I pay attention to.
And you're saying maybe that's their season.
Right, and that's why I say I can't judge it, but it's not something, like now we don't have that much in common anymore in terms of, and that doesn't make what you're doing bad and what I'm doing good. It's just like, I see it as like we wouldn't be able to, what we consider fun in that season wouldn't be the same way I see, it wouldn't make me feel like it did back then.
Yeah, we would have to be a big compromise.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, because when people see us, or I'm gonna say for me, they look at me as, oh, you wilding out, you out there in the streets. No, I'm in the streets, okay.
I'm living life.
Right. I'm enjoying myself. But you know people's definition of being, what you know the definition of being in the street.
I remember when we went to a party locally, and I remember we had a conversation, and it was like, we really saw then, like your peace and the way you have confidence in yourself can like really irritate people.
Mm-hmm.
Like people was there with their husbands and and they were just like sitting, and it's almost like they were looking like, why are y'all up and having fun? I was so disturbed by that because again, you see stuff in a different light. Like you really paid your good money to come here and sit with a hard face,
balled up,
mad,
watch them out,
and mad that other people are enjoying themselves.
I don't care if I'm popping off beat. I'm gonna have me a good time.
Yes.
Getting that workout in, having a good time.
And why do that bother? I don't know. That's the part. Like my thought. Like I always like thinking through that. Like I then try to put myself like, okay, what would make me sit there and look like that? Like, you know what I mean?
But see, people for us thinking that we're single, they think that we're truly out here wilding out,
We were at one
sleep.
time. Oh,
Well,
not
sleeping
like
around
that.
and stuff like that. But you know what that wilding. But
Yeah.
that's why I say interpretation is everything, because it's like.
And I'm gonna take it a step further and say too, like I feel as though people need to do a better job minding their bodies. Like, why do you care what somebody else do with their body? If somebody is out here like wilding out and you just don't do it.
Right.
If
that's
they
your
being
lesson.
Safe, right. If they being safe, if that's what they like to do, why does that irritate people? You know what I mean?
Is it because they want to do it?
I think so. Because I don't care enough about stuff that I don't care nothing about. You know what I mean? Like stuff I truly don't care about is not gonna make me like upset.
But yeah, why people think we out here like literally sleeping around? But like you said, why doesn't matter? Though.
Yep. And I think those are the things like when we sitting in general conversation with people, like when that stuff comes up, more people need to get comfortable with asking people, why do you care? Why is this bothering you? Why is what somebody else choose to do with their body bothering you? Why do you feel the need to tell somebody that they're losing too much weight? Like, why do you feel so connected to what somebody else choosing to do? You know what I mean?
Right. I guess. It's
like it's one of the things people sometimes feel like they gotta tell you how they gotta get it out. Oh my God, I gotta tell her. I gotta tell her.
Like Beavis and Butthead.
And they want you to react, I guess, in a way that makes them feel like they really had an impact. Like something they say really had an impact. It's just like, okay, headed to the gym. See you when I get back.
Do it. And we all do what we want to do. And that's why I said people can't get mad when you don't take advice from someone else, because have you taken 100% of that advice?
Maybe that's the issue. Not everybody do what they want to do, but they expect you to do what they want you to do.
Say that again.
Not everybody does what they want to do. But those are the same people oftentimes that expect for you to do what they want you to do. Because somebody that got control in their lives, or like, I'll speak for me, I understand the empowerment that comes behind being a self-thinker that can say no, that can say, yeah, we made these plans. That's something I do want to get better about. But like, I don't have a problem saying, yeah, I made these plans 2 weeks ago when I felt differently, but I'm not feeling it today. Like, a lot of people cannot do that.
Right, they feel obligated.
So when people don't understand the freedom that comes with being able to live in your truth moment to moment, day to day, they then want to, kind of like I was saying about my sister going to Howard, but in a different way. They want to live vicariously through you. They can't control themselves, or they're not comfortable with standing in the decisions they make for themselves. So they want to feel like they have the power to make you make a decision that they want you to make.
Want you to live by their societal standards.
I mean, daggone, you better go do it yourself.
Not everyone does what they want.
You didn't even forget what I said now.
We're going to go back on the video and look at it.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to you.
Not everybody, we say that. Everybody do what they want to do. That is not true. That is not true. Because you think about how many people we talk to. I watch our videos and I'm so inspired, but, you know, I want to do this, but this is what I'm worried about. How it's going to look, what people going to say. I can't relate. At one time I could, but now I really cannot relate to giving a daggone about when somebody else sit back and think about my life, the conclusion they come up with.
Who's that? But it goes back to the hype. Live your truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was smooth. All right. Going back. If money wasn't a necessity, would you live your life the same as you do now?
Nope.
If money wasn't a necessity, would you live your life the same as you do now? No. And I would say no. Because I wouldn't be working for someone. I'd be working for myself.
I wouldn't be working at all. If money isn't a necessity, meaning we have everything, we have an abundance of it and don't need more, I wouldn't work.
In my case, in my line of work, I wouldn't work 40 hours a week, but I would show my face at the business because.
Oh, so you saying, hold on, wait. Interpretation and everything. So are we saying clean slate, meaning we can create the lives we want because now we have this abundance of money? Or are we saying, you know what I'm saying?
If money wasn't a necessity,
because my answer would be different in that case.
If money wasn't a necessity, would you live your life the same as you do now? I was taking to interpretation is everything. So if it's clean slate, no, I wouldn't work.
Would you still create? I'm trying to think. I would still create my businesses that I'm working on because they have purpose. They're a part of my purpose. But I don't feel as though, like, I know I wouldn't be a 9 to 5. I would be vacationing more, laying out on somebody's beach with a book, the sun on me. Oh, that's the best feeling. Taking a nap on the beach. I would own my time. So yes, I would do things a lot differently.
But looking at it from that aspect, it's just like me. I would show my face, but I wouldn't work up. But if we're talking about like a clean slate, no, I wouldn't work. I would vacation. I would do like some missionary work, like be a mentor.
I would still do a lot of the same things like this. I mean, I would do some things the same, but all of those are the things that I feel like a purpose work. Like I wouldn't, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't work for myself.
We on the way. We on the way to that.
On the way, Miss Doubtfire, right?
Up on the way.
Do you think a man can marry a woman who financially makes more money than him and not be secretly jealous or feel less than? I'm going to say he would have to be a confident man. Because I think that would, a man that's confident in himself, I feel that it will work for that man.
Yes.
That's confident in himself. But if he's not, that's going to be an issue.
I would say a man that has confidence in the vision that he has for his life too. Like a man that understands, like, this is where we are, but this ain't where we always gonna be. So that might be for some men a motivating factor. Like, I don't want my wife to make more than me, so let me really buckle down and do what I need to do so that we can flip the script. And I know a couple that, well, I know one personally, and she was saying how when she first met her husband, she was making the most money, but she like really removed herself and let him have his journey and like prayed for him, and like now he takes like tremendous care of her, and he has been the proponent behind, is that the right word? I think so, behind like her businesses. So making more money, I think, is not to get away from the question, but as I'm growing, I'm seeing that as being like
motivating factor.
Or it's not. It doesn't really hold as much weight as we have made it.
I don't think we have. Well, you talking about
like
society?
Okay. Yeah. Because like I'm talking about this lady, when she met her husband, he was making less than her, but he helped her expand on her business idea, and then she had a multi-million-dollar business. So his contribution wasn't here's $1 million, but I got this $1 million idea. You know what I mean?
Right.
But who's to say if they would have met and maybe he was already making more than her, she might have settled in that. I mean, it had a certain level of comfortability knowing that, oh, well, you got me. Yep. I don't really have to do much.
So to answer that question, I would say they would have to know themselves. They would have to be confident in all aspects of their life.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then think about Tabitha Brown and Chase. Is that her husband? Chance. So I used to follow them a long time, so I know their story. I used to follow her when she was just on, I don't even know how I came across her cooking it on Facebook Live. And she retired her husband.
Yeah, you did tell me.
Yep.
You did tell me that.
So, and now look at how just them being willing, or him being willing to allow her to lead in that way and like support her in her vision. Their lives have changed in ways like they probably are still trying to grasp hold of. But if he would have got caught up in that, I'm the man, like,
never happened.
They wouldn't be that example.
So, a confident man wants growth, understanding, God-fearing. And
not for nothing, I think too, when we talk about, so when you have a certain calling on your life, I think things are presented to you in ways that require you to still need God. Because I can say for myself, had I been in certain situations, I mean, we've had very blunt conversations about that. I need somebody I can grow with, because that, like, I'm very big on like those foundations, those principles that create longevity. Like, how do we solve conflict together? How do we support one another? Like, if I got the vision, but you can actually do the work, like, how do we work well in terms of things like that? So sometimes I think it could be helpful. I mean, it's about what works for everybody, like each person, for that to be the dynamic starting off. Because I think it motivates each person in a different way.
I mean, I'm gonna say they don't have to be confident in themselves, and be open-minded and willing to work together.
Because we know people that seem like they got it all, but they can't stand each other. I don't want that. Yeah. I'm not gonna have that. That is not what God has for my life. So
I want my man to be. That's my baby. Mike, I'm gonna get on his nerves. I already know that.
No, you won't.
In a good way.
Yep. But yep.
Hey, boo.
You know my sister, you is
strong.
Do we got a question we give a short answer to?
It's several more questions.
For real. We can do a part 2?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
You want to end?
Yep. So thank you all for tuning in to our Hyphen. We are probably going to do a part 2 to this. We just got to get our day started. It's going to be a busy day for us, but we wanted to make sure that we recorded this because for the next week, our schedules do not align at all.
No. Not at all.
Not at least a bit so. But we will see you all in our next video. And if you have any questions, let us know. I might do a poll, the anonymous poll on Instagram.
Okay.
Before we do the next video, and then if people have questions, they can just ask us. We can answer. So cool.
That might be 2 or 3 more episodes because I think
this is good though. It's allowing people to ask us because we haven't had any guests on yet. So all people are getting to our perspective of what we decide to talk about. So okay.
And it's a part of
Buzz Lightyear.
fly.
We don't never see it until we stop.
The light, it gets warm.
That's what it is.
Yeah, they like the warmth. For real. That's why they go to the window.
Right? We're trying to peek in on them.
No, but for real, this is a part of mentorship. For real, because they're asking us questions that they have for themselves. That's and how we went through it. So,
dang, we did it. We done. That's good. All right. Well, talk to y'all in the next video. Peace.